This is one you're not going to find a lot of. This is a Thompson red variety of jackfruit. And this is developed by Excalibur. He didn't release it to the public when I got it from him. He was like hoarding them because this was his own baby. But I had bought so many trees, like over a period of 2 weeks, I think I picked up like 20 different trees from him, that I convinced him to let me have one of the first ones. So they weren't available for the public, but I had to have it because it wasn't available to the public.
Yeah.
And it's jackfruit with a red interior, which I'd never seen. There are other varieties of it, but this is his own Excalibur version of it. Of course, it's too young to see. These trees have to get pretty big before you get the fruit out of jackfruits. And then it's monster fruit. And you can see I have very, very heavy mulch on the edges of the property. And that's because this property next to me is higher. And so when we get the heavy rains in the rainy season, I tend to get extra water flooding from his side. I have enough of my own flooding. So this is just a mulch layer to kind of absorb it and control the flow. So at least there won't be a torrent coming down.
Sure.
Help the ground manage it. Also, my dog patrols the perimeter of everything, and so we'll tear up any lawn that you leave there anyway. It kills two birds with one stone. This is my prettiest banana plant. Bananas are not a tree. I cringe when everyone says banana tree. This is a Namois. And I love it because it stays fairly small. And it's just nice manageable shape. And it produces, it's a really pretty tree. I mean, even if you're not a great banana fan, it just, at least to me, in my eye. And you can see there's the main stalk. I got this from Going Bananas. They're down in Homestead, and that's the banana specialists. So that's the main stalk. And there's two babies coming off of it. For those who don't know, bananas, they only produce one bunch on the plant, and then this will die after these fruit, and then these will take over and produce fruit. You can separate them if you want these pups when they're smaller and spread them out, but I'd rather let them do their own thing.
You know that's a dwarf Namois. They sell. I have one that's tall, and then they have a dwarf.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted it to stay a little on the smaller side.
No, the big ones are too tall.
And I want to be able to get the fruit without having to climb up on a ladder. As
Good
you can see
idea.
from some of mine.
Yes.
This is a Rajapuri, an Indian banana.
Now, do you limit the pups to just 4? Or?
I don't. I
Okay.
let them do their own thing. Again,
Okay.
it's if you want to have maximum production, you want to separate the pups out and you know, fertilize like crazy. I'm not interested in maximum production. I have over 20 banana trees here, and you know, there's no way I'm going to be able to utilize them anyway. I give most of them away. So I let it do its own thing. I'd rather have bananas all the time, all year round, or as close as I can. This is an enormous bunch. This is Pisang Raja, which is another Indian variety. As you can see, huge, huge, huge things. I mean, monster plants. And I got one that finished fruiting, and I have to remove it before it falls over, which is this one in the middle here. As you can see, it's already getting loose.
Yeah.
But I do have to kind of chop it and remove it carefully, otherwise it's going to fall and damage some of the other varieties. This is an ice cream banana, commonly miscalled the blue Java. I mean, 90% of the people that tell you blue Java, they're not blue Java. This is an ice cream banana, which we don't really know what it is. I mean, some say it's Grand Nan, some say it's Namois, there's other names for it. Produces a very nice fruit. Delicious. And again, some people trim off this dead stuff. I don't bother. You know, it'll fall off when it's ready. And then I'll just add it to the pit. I'm not as worried about how pretty it is, you know. So I just chop all these leaves off that fall, and I throw them into this. When I originally started this was going to be a banana circle. And, you know, I dug down, you know, a couple of feet and put a lot of compost in it. And then I kind of gave up on digging more. It's so hard to dig into this soil. There's a lot of tree roots from around it. So there's a huge clump, and you can see it's still sending it more. Let it do its thing. I'm happy with it. This is about the smallest banana you're ever going to see that produces fruit. These are full-grown bananas. This is I believe it's called Tiny Tim, but I'm not really sure. Truly tiny, maybe. But it actually produces small fruit that are edible. It's not a decorative banana. It's an edible banana. Very cool when you see them. And you have these little bananas growing and they're like a foot off the ground. This is a dwarf red, which wasn't doing too great. I got some fruit the first year, and then it kind of seemed not to do so well. Some of the pups died. But this year it seems to be recovering. So sometimes we give up too early on them. And it's now sending up beautiful looking plant, which I'm pretty sure is going to have nice fruit. Here's one of my lizards that live on my trees and help with the bug control. I love them. Here's the last of my figs that are like in the ground. It seems to be okay. This is LSU purple, which is one of those new University of Florida developed varieties that's supposed to be resistant. Notice they say resistant. It just means, you know, it'll take longer to kill it. Hasn't made any fruit yet, but it seems to be growing. Maybe it'll hang in there. This one has beaten all the odds. This is a Sabara Jaboticaba. And every time I post it and tell people it's 7 years old and it's fruiting, people say, no way, it takes 10 years, it takes 12 years, it has to do this, it has to do that. And it's funny because I kept looking at, like, you'll see a Flying Fox if you ever watch any of their videos with Adam Shafran. I have to give him props. He keeps showing how the park has to peel like a year before and look for the flowers down here. And I kept looking down here, looking for the park to peel. And I totally missed that the flowers are up here. And as you can see, it's loaded with fruit. So for people who aren't familiar with Jaboticabas or Jaboticabas, it's what's also called a Brazilian grape tree. And what's unusual is the grapes are actually produced on the trunk of the tree and not on the branches. So this tree was bought as a 3-gallon 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I'm thinking that it's really under 7 years old, or maybe around 7 years old. You can see, and yet it's happy, it's popping. So very lucky. If you look at the leaves, you can tell the difference on the Sabara versus the red hybrids. It's a different size leaf. This is just a acerola cherry or Barbados cherry. I just added that one, so it hasn't done much. This is another one of these hybrid Anemoyas, unnamed variety. And it's a cross between Na Dai, which is a Vietnamese Annona, and custard apple. And you can see how much fruit this thing is going to produce. It is just popping with flowers like crazy. I'm sure if I pollinated this, it would be like crazy, but I'm going to wait and see this year whether I need to. Because it has a lot of sugar apple in it, and it's really more in the Anemoya, I think it'll be self-fertile. So we'll find out self-pollinating. This is another Na Dai, Vietnamese variety of sugar apple, so it should be self-pollinating. And you can see also loaded with flowers. Again, this is early spring here, so they're not fruiting yet. But it's got lots of flowers, which is first step. This is another one of these unnamed sour sops. And you can see it's a little different strain just by looking the way it grows. A little bit different. Seems to be having a little pest problem over here with scale. As you can see, a little scale growing on it. So if it becomes a problem and they start looking nasty, Also being patrolled by the fire ants. If the scale get out of control, I'll just give them a little wipe with some little alcohol with water. Wipe them off with a little cotton ball or something. I'm not going to poison the whole tree to just get rid of it a little bit. It doesn't seem to hurt the tree. This is a Grimmel Jaboticaba, which I guess is considered pretty rare now. It's hard to find. It's named after Grimmel, the guy's farm who developed this strain. And it's supposed to, I haven't tried the fruit yet, it's supposed to be one of the best tasting ones and also one of the earlier ripening ones like the red hybrids. So unlike Sabro, which will take, at least 7 years, 10 years, this is more like 4 or 5, or maybe 3 to 5 before it fruits and it's supposed to be a delicious fruit. Time will tell. As you can see, I gave it a premium spot. So I'm anxious for it. There's another rare fruit that you don't see a lot of. It's called the patamba. And if you take a look at it, you'll see it's fruiting. It's only in the ground about a year. And it's producing a lot of fruit. Flowered nicely and producing fruit first year in the ground. It's supposed to be kind of like an apricot-y tasting fruit.
Yeah, it tastes like lemon heads.
Yeah? You have one growing?
Yeah.
The
I have several, yeah. It tastes like lemon heads.
How long did it take for yours to fruit from the time you planted them?
One of them fruited quite quickly. I have others that haven't fruited yet.
They haven't fruited yet. So this is the first year with it, so I don't know yet. This is another Groomy Chama.
Looks good. Looking good.
Looking very good. And the same thing. You see the pre-flower stage where it starts to send up these unique-looking structures, and the flowers come up from behind it. Have you gotten fruit off of yours yet?
Not this year. Last year I got a ton.
Last year you got fruit. It's a thing. These sometimes alternate bearing. You think you're doing the same thing every year, and you get a different result. They used to say, "Man plans and God laughs." So this one also getting the special treatment. This is Leaf's favorite tree. So you know what that is?
I do. What's that yellow one? I was just looking at it this morning.
It's an abiu.
Yeah. I was just looking at it this morning.
I had one that was in another spot in the yard and was not doing very well because it got flooded out. And so I saw how Leaf, he loves this stuff. And all that black around it it's a whole bag of cow manure. Just on one tree. It loves it.
It loves it, that's it, because mine's not looking too great.
Try it. And I put it on, and after I put the cow manure on, it started pushing new leaves like crazy and started growing vigorously.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get some manure.
Black cow manure, that's an entire bag on it.
I know some cows.
You see everything I have growing on mounds?
Yeah.
Mulch, and a lot of that has to do with flooding. Not just the mulch being great for the nutrition, but this yard, sometimes there's literally be islands underwater.
Oh, really?
In the rainy season.
So the water sits here.
And the water, will be completely around this, and this one little island will be there, surviving, so the tree roots don't drown. So it's not just a decorative thing, or even just having mulch, it's protective. This is the other variety, except this one's a green Camito, and the other one's purple variety. None of them are fruited yet, and if I didn't know, I really couldn't tell the difference looking at the leaves.
Yeah, there's you can't tell the difference. There's just not purple and green. There's like so many purple and green.
Yeah. So I don't know what cultivar they really are. This has been in the ground a couple of years and wasn't really doing well until I put some more heavier mulch down. And the same thing, had dropped all of its leaves, and it really looked like it was getting ready for the compost pile. And then I hit it with triple superphosphate, the organic triple superphosphate, as a desperate measure. Thinking, what the heck, before I bury it, and boom, came back to life. So this one really did have some kind of nutritional deficiency, and it came back to life. And it's doing well. Hopefully it'll fruit. This is some of my largest stuff. This is Akira Star fruit. This thing is the most incredibly productive tree. Now, even though the tree is huge, 90% of the fruit grows within 6 feet to 10 feet. So you can just walk underneath the tree and harvest a Homer bucket, a 5-gallon bucket every day. And it produces 4 or 5 crops a year. It's just nonstop. It's taking a breakdown. The last fruit was picked maybe a month ago, and as you can see, it's flowering again.
Wow.
Check these out. You see where the flowers are?
Yep. Wow.
And it's an interesting thing. The tree takes turns on what side of the tree it's going to fruit. Again, these trees have their own intelligence.
So this was here when you moved in?
This was here when I moved in. It's a huge tree, but I can get to most of the fruit. I have a picker that I hacked from some bamboo I have growing in the front. And as you can see, where the flowering is mostly. Oh, look at this. How much production you're going to get on this. Just to give you an idea.
Wow.
I mean, just enormous amount. That entire bottom is not leaf litter. That's dried carambolas, because it just produces so much. I leave them on the ground because the bees love them, and I love the bees. So the bees feast on them. I have thousands of bees here on them, and I've never gotten stung once. You know, there's really a misconception, people who are afraid of bees, that bees are not looking to sting you. They sting you, they die. They'll only sting you if you attack the nest or you try to swat them in self-defense. Otherwise, you know, they're not out to hurt you. This tree has the opposite growth pattern of this one. This is a longan tree. And the problem with this tree is that 90% of the production is at the top of the tree where I can't reach it. And it's very hard to harvest. Now, if you take a look up top, you'll see it's loaded with fruit already.
Yep. Wow.
But look where it likes to fruit.
Yeah, all the way up top.
Yeah, I do get fruit around, you know, at lower ranges where I can get them. So the answer for this is not so much, is to do some vigorous air layering. And the reason I say that is because if you air layer it, it'll push new growth where you cut it. And so these are a couple that I took off this tree, air layered, about 6 months ago. And so these trees are in the bucket. And when you air layer, you get an identical clone. Now you can see I get Sri Lankan weevils having a feast on it. They come out at night, they eat the leaves, it ain't pretty. And the day they sneak away, you can't get them. So unless you're out here at night picking them or you want to spray like crazy, I say, you know what, let them eat the leaves. You're not hurting the tree. So these two I just cut off of this one. I did the air layers, and they're doing great. There's a miracle berry, which you have, and I'm sure you're familiar with.
A bunch of them.
I never got this kind of production. I also gave it some of that triple superphosphate, because I would get like 5, 6 berries at a time, and it was like slim picking. I put the triple superphosphate on it.
How much did you put down?
3-4 ounces of it. And it must have had some kind of deficiency. And boom.
Where'd you get it, from Amazon or a local
No,
grocery?
this is from a company called Kelp 4 Less. Kelp, the number 4 Less. And they actually specialize in selling to the marijuana growers out in California who, you know, certain chemicals help it with blooming and fruit set and budding and all this, you know, kind of stuff that I don't get involved in. But they know their stuff. And so, you know, I had heard from other people that that's great for pushing flowers. And if you don't have flowers, you don't get fruit. So it has no nitrogen. It has the right ratio of potassium and phosphorus, but it also has other stuff added to it, like feather meal and microorganisms and stuff. So it's like a complete, similar to like a spoma holly tone, except with no nitrogen and more stuff to encourage flowering. And sure enough, flowered like crazy and set a ton of fruit. So some stuff that does really help. This is the newest avocado added to the collection. It's just in the ground a couple weeks. I picked this up at the Mounts Botanical Garden plant sale. That was just a couple weeks ago. You know, same thing. I keep saying, no more avocados. I already got 10. Then I see another one. I don't have that one.
What kind is that?
Nishikawa.
Okay.
If you notice on a lot of these varieties, you'll see the leaf has this kind of damage.
Uh-huh.
And people wonder what that is. And if you turn the leaf over, you'll see like little dried black poop.
Uh-huh.
And that's from the avocado lace flies, which are these tiny little things that look like aphids. And there's a variety that just goes after avocados.
Wow.
And, you know, you could hit it with neem oil or any of that kind of stuff, or just wipe it off, or spritz it with some alcohol, or hose them off. If it's not bad and it doesn't really hurt the tree, I just leave them. You know, same thing. If the tree is healthy, the tree will adapt. And also, whatever something is growing, one kind of an insect, if you let it go, a couple of weeks later, another insect says, "Oh, baby, here's lunch," and zooms in and knocks them off. So if the tree is healthy, it'll manage. Here's one of my figs that I got. Same thing. I started these all as cuttings about a year ago. I'll show you a little bit more of my collection there.
What kind of fig is that?
This one, it's hard for me to keep track of these, so I wrote tags. That's a white Marseille.
Okay.
And this tree is, you know, less than a year old. It might produce this year, and it might take till next year. These are all sugar apples. I'm starting from seed.
Okay.
Sugar apple is one of the few trees that you can really grow from seed, and they grow true to variety. And you know, buy one sugar apple, and you'll have.
They grow pretty quickly too, right?
They grow quick. You'll have 50 trees.
So they're 100% true to seed.
I believe so. The sugar apples, though. You know, you can get into the whole debate whether it's monoecious or dioecious, and you know whether it really is true. It seems to work for me. This variety is the Thompson avocado, and the story behind this one is I got it from that AK Caribbean nursery, and she's a Jamaican lady who only moved here a few years ago, and she snuck it in with it, you know, some cuttings from the whole country when she moved here. You know, which she's not supposed to do, but that was many years ago. And this was from her grandma's farm. And she loves it. I haven't had fruit from it yet. Same thing, you get the fruit fly. You can see the dried lacewing. They haven't come back this year yet. I don't see any live ones. That's just dried up poop from last year. Same thing, they damage a few leaves, but no big deal. This is a cutting that I planted literally not even 2 months ago. And all of this is less than 2 months. And loaded. It's a mulberry of an unknown variety that I don't know. It grows in one of my neighbor's yards.
Wow.
And so, you know, she came and visited and brought me a cutting. I think, hey, I love mulberries. I added to the collection. Now that I know how fast it grows, this is going to get, and if I taste the fruit, I haven't tried it yet. There's going to be a lot more cuttings in this one because, man, is that thing vigorous. This was a lost air layer that I totally forgot about. That was left on the tree, and I just noticed it. And I did the air layer like 6 months ago, and I peeled off the aluminum. And it was loaded with roots, and they're all white and dried up. But I figured, you know what? What do I got to lose? I'll stick in the pot. It dropped 50% of its leaves, but it didn't die. So inside that dried up ball I was sure was dead, obviously it's not dead because I've had other cuttings that I've taken, and within 2 days, all the leaves dry up and die, and the plant is dead, so this one's coming back. There's another sugar apple. Again, one of those unknown varieties that just listed in the nursery as green. So who knows? It will produce fruit. Here's another one of those Muntingia. And here's one you could try, dear.
Laura.
This one looks pretty ripe. Tell me what you think it tastes like. Kid cereal? You don't like it? Do you like it?
I do like them. It's really good. Nice.
But it's fun because you can see like I could pick off all the ripe ones, and by tomorrow morning there'll be more ripe ones.
Yeah, it's an amazing tree.
So it's like one of those, I like to meander around the garden. I don't really like set up a time to work on the garden. I kind of wander around and I have my little pruners and I snip here and I pick here and I pick a few bugs off.
What about the mamey there?
Oh, that's a mamey Sapote, which so far has produced one fruit since I'm here. Oh, I left the other two out also. I suspect when this was originally planted a long time ago, this tree was a lot smaller. And so this tree has overgrown and totally provided the shade. And if you notice when I talk about a tree has intelligence of its own, look at the way it's growing.
Towards the sun, yeah.
Trying to get away from the other tree and get some sun. This has never been pruned. It's only had one piece of fruit on it since I got it. You know, I could chop it down, but there's nothing really that's going to grow great in that spot anyway. So I leave it. Let it do its thing.
If you chop that down, that'll grow better.
Yeah, probably.
Or at least cut that in half.
Probably, but I got a feeling that once a tree is that old already, that it's not really going to bounce back, you know, that vigorously. It has, however, sent up some babies.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if this is really one or it's a weed or if it's a baby mame. I haven't decided yet. I keep looking at the leaves, and I'm not really sure. You venture to take a guess?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's a weed of some sort,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Probably, more likely.
Yeah.
But this one is definitely a star fruit.
Yep, 100%.
Which probably came from a seed from one of these.
Yep.
A fruit that landed here. You know, I don't think it grows from the roots, so.
No, it would have landed
here.
there, yeah.
So I'll let it grow here. Maybe I'll dig it up if somebody wants it. But it's.
Hey, you got some fruit growing on this.
Did it set some fruit?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Here's my mame Sapote coming back from the dead, right?
No, if you cut this long and back, this will definitely take off.
So just when you think it's ready to get chopped down because it doesn't produce fruit?
No, it's the sun. Cut that tree and cut that back. This will produce beautiful fruit.
You know, I'm a little intimidated to do it myself.
As a matter of fact, you got. Oh no, you don't have another one there, but I'm sure you will.
These fruit take forever to ripen, though. I mean, literally like a year.
Yeah, but they're worth it.
Are they?
Oh yeah, they're so good.
And that one, it was on the tree for like a year and a half before I picked it, and it was decent.
And if you don't like the variety, you could graft a new variety onto it. This is a very valuable tree you got here.
So you convinced me to keep it and maybe do something with it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I got a quote from somebody, a professional, to come up there and trim that tree and do it the right way, a real arborist, and it was sticker shock. What do you think he would quote me to do it?
I don't know.
$600. I said, you know, for $600 I can cut the whole tree down and plant another dozen. So I passed on that option.
I'll do it for $550. Yeah, the only issue you're gonna have. I mean, this is an easy tree to cut. The only problem is it's below this tree. You don't want to destroy this tree.
Yeah, you really have to know what you're doing with it. It's a, you know.
Yeah, but you're
not going to whack off 90% of the tree in one shot.
No. But it's not a big deal. But
you know, so I said I got better things to spend money on now. I got so many fruit trees. I have another one in the front, and I have some earlays growing on it. It'll just be easier for me to grow more because they stop producing fruit very small.
Yeah.
And so I did a whole bunch of ear layers on that also. So where I did ear layers, I got more fruit to grow at a lower level. So I'm finally getting fruit this year that I can reach. Because I used all of these branches that I ear layed are now producing fruit at a reachable thing. Otherwise, to get up there, again, I share with nature. Those are the birds.
Yeah.
Those belong to the birds, and these are mine.
What do you got here?
This was a dead tree. I mean, it had literally 6 leaves on it when I got here. It's a lychee tree. And this was just bare sand around here. So I dumped a whole bunch of mulch on it. And it was loaded with the Sri Lankan weevils. Forget about those bites that you see. There was like, every leaf was 90% holes and 10% leaf. And there was like almost nothing left. I covered it with a ton of mulch, as you can see. And all of a sudden, even though we've had no rain and I don't water it, it seems to be bouncing back. And also, if you notice behind you, I leave this whole area natural. Because I want the wildlife and stuff.
What's behind there?
The other side is the canal.
Okay.
So, you know, I hate this palmetto tree because you get all cut up on it, on the edges and stuff if you're walking it. The flowers that it produces, besides the berries, are really big magnets for the bees.
Yeah.
The bees love this tree, so I leave it.
That's
These are some Philippine Lacatan bananas.
nice. Where'd you get those?
These are from Leaf.
Yeah,
Some cuttings from Pups
yeah,
Trees.
yep. I got some cutters from there. They're so good. You tasted them?
Huh?
You tasted them?
They haven't fruited yet.
Amazing, amazing.
They haven't fruited yet for me. These are just stuck in the ground. I've decided now I got mostly fruit trees, and I'm going to start with the flowers and the shrubs and this stuff. So just for the hell of it, I bought some of these mammoth sunflowers. You know, the ones that get like 16 feet tall. Just for the giggles. And these things grow like 2 inches a day. I can easily see how they get that big. And they follow the sun. So like in the morning, they're leaning this way, and by the afternoon, they're leaning this way.
That's funny.
So I found that anything I plant directly in the ground, as far as the seed, the squirrels dig up, the rabbits dig up. So I start everything now in pots until the stem gets a little harder, and then I'll stick them in the ground. You're not going to keep them in the pot.
We got some June plums here.
Yeah. This is one of those hugel culture pits. For those who don't know what hugel culture is, it's where you use big logs and stuff, and you dig a deep pit. So this pit is actually 6 feet tall, and I did all of this work. And a great idea, except I put it in the wrong spot. Again, it was again a mistake. Because it's in a very shady spot. This is south, so it doesn't really get enough sun. I mean, all of that work I did would have been better spent somewhere else in the yard.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of a set it and forget it thing because it has so much natural, mulch material breaking down in there and holds the water that you never need to take care of it.
You got the June plum, and here you have
These June plums that are on it are actually last year's crop, which never fell off and I never harvested.
wow.
And now they're like really hard, like petrified like wood. And I'm not sure why I leave them, other than they kind of look weird. But this is this year's fruit coming up. Ambarella. This is from your buddy Jack Sandquist.
Yeah. Wow.
This is a crispy one. That's the only description. It's a crispy jackfruit. And I got this from him when he was doing that Palm. I don't remember if it's Palm Beach Gardens or it's another name for it. The West Palm.
No, Palm Beach Gardens.
There's two of them. There's the Palm Beach Gardens, and then there's the West Palm Market.
Yeah, he used to be at the Palm Beach one. I mean the West
Palm.
North Palm.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you can see there's a little left over from a male flower. So this is the first year I pushed male flowers.
How old is that tree?
And same thing. I got this. It was foot high, 1.5 feet high.
Wow.
$8. And look at this. This is 2.5 years of growth.
Wow.
Obviously, it's tapping into that hugel culture pit. Never needs water, fertilizer, anything. But the roots are big enough. It's hitting the pit. And so, can't wait for you to get fruit out of this guy. That's a wax jambu.
Yep.
Hasn't fruited yet. First year, it was in a sleep stage, did nothing. Now it's in, it skipped the creep stage because now it's growing like crazy. So the first year I didn't get any growth at all on it. It just looked dormant. And this is all new growth from here up. So
you know what number it is?
No, because this is the way it was labeled. Just red wax jambu.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not everybody is too great at, I don't remember.
Well, you'll get more fruit from this than any other tree you have. At Excalibur, out of all the trees they have, they get hundreds and hundreds of pounds of fruit each year from their tree.
Out of the wax jambu.
Yeah.
Again, I got it because it's odd and unusual and weird.
Yeah.
This is one that nobody ever guesses. There's another one in a million years you don't guess.
I'm going to take a guess. Lemon mangosteen.
Not even close.
Okay.
That's a paper shell macadamia nut.
Macadamia, yes. Look at that. It looks.
And it just
so
shows
obvious.
you when people want to know about, why get a grafted tree. That's a grafted tree. So that top part of that tree is it from an adult tree. And so it doesn't know that it's a dwarf. It's tiny. And so it's actually flowering and wants to produce nuts.
All right, everybody. So there's the backyard. And this place is really amazing. And there's so much more he's going to do here. He has a lot of room.
Oh, yeah. This is just the start.
Doing great. All right, everybody. There it was. Jerry, thank you so much.
You're
that was
welcome.
amazing.
Come back anytime.
So many trees. Really amazing. And this place is just encouraging.
Come back in a month or two when I have a lot of fruit for you to sample.
Oh, you'll be seeing me a lot. Fruit to sample. All right, everybody. Put your comments or questions below. if you have any questions. And also, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, Jerry. And,
Be fruitful and God bless.
Yes, yes. All right, everybody. Have a fruitful day.